But I'm here to build my resume to get used to playing with players like this.
Kobe filling it up. That time, Kevin Durant on the two-hander. Kobe looked one way, Durant the other. Durant tried to spin over, and what about the baby? Oh, Kevin Durant showing the repertoire, the full arsenal early. After practice, and in little groups all around the gym at the Cox Pavilion. The three from Kevin Durant.
And Anthony are the guys that are making shots for Team Blue.
Durant showing his athleticism. There was no depth on the baseline. He got behind the defense. 22 for Kevin Durant.
Okay, Kevin Durant is going berserk. He is absolutely lighting up Team USA, scoring at will on this all-world lineup. The kid is going crazy. And I say kid because this game didn't take place a few years ago. It didn't take place while he was in OKC. It didn't take place when he was a rookie. This display of basketball greatness happened in the summer of 2007, when Kevin Durant was 18 years old and before he even played a single NBA game. In 2007, the NBA looked a bit different than it does today. Dirk Nowitzki was the league's most valuable player. The Phoenix Suns had the NBA's most lethal offense. The average NBA team made only 6 3-pointers a game, and the Atlanta Hawks were at the bottom of the NBA. Well, that hasn't changed. But while the NBA season was well underway, a slim, lanky forward out of the University of Texas was setting college basketball on fire. This was long before the age of tall, shifty perimeter players. In 2007, the list of tall dudes who could hit a consistent outside shot and handle the rock was very short. In fact, the list was so short that the idea of getting your hands on such a player was a long shot. It was something NBA teams were rarely willing to build their entire team around. In 2007, finding a tall, pure scoring forward with an outside shot was like finding a needle in a haystack. It was nearly unventured territory. And then a teenage Kevin Durant showed up and made us all rethink what was possible. Even this past season, in the age of shooters, Kevin Durant still remains the anomaly of the anomaly. While playing in his first and only season in college, KD had a skill set that had NBA teams scrambling to not only acquire him in the draft, he had the entire league reevaluating what they were looking for in a player. He could handle the ball, he could bring it up the court, he was an ultra elite scorer on all 3 levels while leading the conference in rebounds, blocks, and earning Big 12 All-Defensive Team honors. KD solidified his dominance in the conference tournament by averaging 31 points and 11 rebounds a game and earning NCAA College Basketball Player of the Year, the first freshman to ever win the award. Durant was a proven talent on one of the biggest stages, and the next stop in his basketball journey was the NBA. But before KD would ever play a single game in the NBA, he had to make a quick detour. A since forgotten game against Team USA basketball and the best basketball players on the planet. By the summer of 2007, many players that would eventually become Durant's peers and rivals were already well on their way to becoming all-time greats. Melo was averaging nearly 30 points a game. LeBron was a 3-time All-Star who was putting up 37 and 7 a night with a finals appearance under his belt. And Kobe was Kobe. In fact, the youngest player on the Team USA roster was a 21-year-old Dwight Howard. But for just a few weeks, Team USA coaches decided to give the 18-year-old kid out of Texas a shot and suit up with the team to showcase his abilities. Or, the more likely scenario, sit on the bench in awe of the NBA's best talent. Since the inclusion of professional basketball players in 1992, of the hundreds of players who have played for Team USA basketball, Kevin Durant is by far the youngest player to ever suit up for the men's senior team. Durant wasn't even supposed to be there. These were scrimmage games to get Team USA prepared for the men's FIBA World Championship that summer. Durant was such an afterthought in the program that he came off the bench. The Kevin Durant came off of the bench in a basketball game. In the 1,165 officially recorded basketball games Kevin Durant has played in, he has started in 1,159. One of those 6 games he didn't start in his entire basketball career was this USA scrimmage in the summer of 2007. He's playing against the best players in the world. He hasn't even played a minute in the NBA, and he's coming off the bench. I mean, come on. How much damage could the kid do?
Good exposure for Kevin Durant. I mean, to get to play against the NBA's best, and he has yet to play his first regular season game. This will tell him just how much work he is ahead of him. And, he's a very humble, hard-working guy, so he's just happy to be here. He said, look, I root my teammates on. I'm just happy to be involved in the experience. Used to playing with players like this.
Kobe filling it up. That time, Kevin Durant on the 2. Aaron Williams leaves it off, and Kevin Durant.
No, you don't see it at all, but he's probably the most effective player in the NBA. Might be their main distributor. Huh?
What a foul! Kevin Durant, the quick release. Sonic man. Durant tried to spin over, and what about the baby? There's Kevin Durant, and it's blocked away by Battier. Stays with him.
Opponents attack him, get up the floor quickly, try to make some plays, steal Durant.
And in little groups all around the gym at the Cox Pavilion.
Guys that are making shots for Team Blue.
Durant showing his athleticism. 5-point affair, 22 for Kevin Durant.
I stand corrected. In a game where Kevin Durant was just happy to suit up, he ends up stealing the show as an overwhelming offensive weapon, scoring 24 points in just 25 minutes, with 18 of those points coming in the second half alone, all while being guarded by LeBron, Tayshaun Prince, and Shane Battier, 3 players who would make NBA All-Defensive teams the next season. Now, this was no ordinary exhibition game. Although the outcome technically didn't matter, the intensity was as high as ever. Kobe said, "It's extremely competitive. Everybody's still having a good time and enjoying themselves, but really going at each other. And I think that's what's really going to make us better and help elevate our level." LeBron commented on the elevated competition by saying, "Everybody came to compete. There was a lot of competition out there. It was probably better than an all-star game." And Jason Kidd summed up the game with one simple sentence: "I didn't come here to lose." This was an all-out battle, and Durant came locked and loaded. If anyone wasn't sold on Durant after his historic season at Texas, they were all in after this game. And it wasn't just how much he was putting the ball in the hoop, it was the way he did it, scoring from the low post, jump hooks, mid-range, and 3-pointers. All of this while sharing the ball with the league's 2 best scorers in Carmelo Anthony and Kobe Bryant. Durant had limited opportunities to make an impact in the game, so he spent his introduction to the NBA's best players by giving them buckets for 25 minutes. But this version of Durant is very different than the one we see today. His handle wasn't as tight. He wasn't as confident in his bag. Instead of breaking defenders down off the dribble like we see him often do today, he was much more of a catch-and-shoot threat. He was a nervous 18-year-old playing with the players he looked up to. But the most glaring difference from this KD and the one we've become familiar with was his height. When KD came into the league, he was listed at 6'9". Fast forward 13 years and Durant is a legit 7-footer. The common explanation is that he lied about his height because he wanted to play on the perimeter and not be a player stuck in the post. But when you watch clips from this game, Durant is noticeably shorter than he is today. Here's Kevin Durant right next to LeBron. KD almost looks shorter than him. Here's Durant next to 6'8" Shane Battier. Kevin Durant looks like an average-sized player in 2007. Here's an article saying that KD was 6'7" in his senior season in high school. Compare these clips to his stature today, where Durant is the tallest player on the court 90% of the time, and you realize that KD never lied about his height. In fact, he might not have even been 6'9" when he was drafted. He's just a freak of nature and grew 3 inches since he's been in the league. So, what do you get when you add 3 inches on a super long, sharp-shooting, all-around great 18-year-old? Well, you get one of the greatest players of all time. For the average NBA player, it takes a few seasons to really make a difference in the league. For good players, it may just be a single season. And for great players, it may only take a few months. For Kevin Durant, it didn't even take a single game. Hope you all enjoyed, and as always, until next time.